Okay, so hello everybody who's on the lines now. Welcome to our webinar for the NiCE OracleMP 4.0 launch. I'm happy to have this call here today with you all on, and thanks for joining. Please note that this webinar is being recorded, so if you'd like to speak, there's a Q&A section in the end, but still, if you like to be on the recording, you can also unmute yourself. I per default muted all lines, so just to prevent any unwanted noise on the recording. So but I'm happy to have questions from you at the end as well. So, or otherwise you can use the chat. There are a couple of our engineers from NiCE on the WebEx as well, on this call as well. They will be able to help you with your questions. Now let's get started. Who is this call presented by? So first there's Nikolai Karpova, one of our lead engineers for the Oracle Management Pack. Then myself, Christian Heitkamp. I'm hidden under the solution names here in the participant list. And we have a special guest. We'll cut to that a bit later. So we'll get there in a moment. All right, so with that, I'd like to start to give you an overview of what's new with our version of the Oracle Management Pack 4.0. So we've released this management pack about 6 weeks back. So and we have already a number of good adaptation and upgrades in customer environments. So and I will go over the list of what's new, and then just after that also get to a demo to see actually all the new features and actions. So first of all, I'll start with the main feature, although it just takes a couple of items on this list here. This is the number of new monitors we have included. So over the past years, we've been collecting feedback from all our customers all over the world, and they're giving us feedback and saying, well, I need this monitor or that monitor. We've been doing RFPs and proof of concepts at numerous customers, and typically they have a list of requirements from the Oracle DBA team. Either it comes from the Oracle Cloud Control or Grid Control, Oracle Enterprise Manager, other monitoring tools, or they have a set of custom scripts, and they basically bring those requirements over to us, and then we collect them in a backlog list, and for each release we review them and make them part of a new release. So kind of we deliver on a promise here. So whenever you find something that is that is missing in a product, I'm happy to receive your email, and we'll actually then make that part of the product. So what I show you here is the so-called reference guide. For all of you who have like an access to our portal, they can download it, or all our customers typically have that at hand. And what I like to point out that there is a column here at the very end which is called comments, and we have indicated the new monitors with the new flag here, and you see there a bit further down, like really a lot of new monitors have been added, as well as performance rules. So this way it makes it easy for you to see what is actually new in this release. So then you can actually go back to your DBA or decide if you would like to make it part of this release. At the same time, we also indicate if this new monitor is already enabled in the product or if it's disabled. So if you don't need that new monitor, for example, in this case, we have an in-doubt transaction monitor here as an example, which is enabled by default, but if you decide that this is not required, you can then create an override to disable it. The other way around, obviously, as well. So if you need one of the new monitors in the product that's currently disabled, you can easily enable it via an override. One other item which I'd like to point out is that in the area of monitors, we added additional diagnostic tasks. So diagnostic tasks are typically there to retrieve additional information when a state change occurs of a monitor. So let's say we have a lot of SQL running with using a lot of table scans and makes your system slow, then you can immediately run that diagnostic task and retrieve details on that specific query. Now in this release, actually, we trigger those tasks automatically to run. You can disable this, obviously, in the past been the way around. So, but what we have seen and we received from customers as feedback that often when the state change occurs, then at that time it is important to run the diagnostic task, and that only like 5 minutes later when somebody looks at a ticket. So that's basically been changed here. Okay, so next we've done a ton of things to ease of use of the product. So typically most customers don't have a lot of problems to actually install and import the management pack, or even running the instrumentation that comes with the product to enable the agent-based component to provide data into SCOM. In some areas, customers wondered, like, how is the easiest way to add Oracle instances to monitoring. So in the past, you had to provide like the TNS name, SID, home, and connection string, and these kind of terminology is not very close terminology of a system center administrator. So it is more the terminology of a DBA. So we try to request less information, and we implemented more like an intelligent way to determine information about the Oracle installation on the system. This is both valid for Windows and Linux. So on Windows there's a registry, while on Linux we need to apply some other methodologies. So for example, we use the etc aura tab fxsys, and there's a way to also evaluate processes that are running on the system. So in the end, the only thing that is really needed is the Oracle connection string. Obviously, we need a username and password to connect to the Oracle instance, and that also helps, like if new instances are added to this environment where the same connection string applies, we can reuse that information. So actually makes it much more easier to connect to configure the Oracle connection without the need that you would need to know the Oracle home directory, or if the Oracle home directory is changed, then that can also be retrieved from etc or tab if it's maintained well. On the other hand, we improve the usage of the command line interface, which many of our larger customers use to actually automate the rollout of the Oracle management pack in, let's say, if anything beyond 30 to 40, 100, 200 instances. In that case, there's a scripting interface where in the rollout or update process of Oracle, the script can be included, running obviously as a non-root. It can be run as a technical user. It can be run as a SCOM agent user, and that would actually then administrate and update the configuration file, which has the mapping to all the Oracle instances that need monitoring. So that is another feature there, and if there's questions on that, feel free. We can definitely provide the details. Platform support. Obviously, with every release, there are new platforms. So we are all waiting the next version of System Center Operations Manager, SCOM vNext 2016. So we worked with the team in Redmond to make sure that also the current version, TP5 verified, is good for verification for the final release. So a couple of things in the cross-platform agent have been changed. For Windows, this is less of importance, and more than for those of you running AIX systems, Solaris, Linux, and so on. Some things in the agents have changed, like for instance, some files are placed in a different location on the cross-platform systems. So we verify that this also works out of the box. So with this version, OracleMP 4.0, you are able to actually use the next version of SCOM right away when that becomes available. Obviously, we will do a final verification one day as GA, but until then, we are optimistic that everything will work, and there will be an announcement once that is completed as well. We've run the certification program with Microsoft to get a little badge here to have the certification for System Center 2012 R2. So that's been all approved by Microsoft and included with the OracleMP. So in the next area, we talk about the main item that is new for Oracle MP 4.0, and I'll ask my colleague Nikolai, who is on the call, our lead developer on the Oracle MP, to give a couple of details, because yeah, Oracle Service is really something going in the Oracle direction. I don't have so much ideas on that as Nikolai, so please.
Okay, thank you, Christian. So as you probably know, Oracle ISM cluster was support were added in version 3.10. In Oracle MP 4.0, we enhanced our monitoring in that area. So we, of course, support, as before, Oracle RAC environment, fail-safe environment, RAC One node, and other cluster solutions also work smoothly with OracleMP. But we also added some new features. On the left picture, you can see there is a new state view, Oracle RAC DB services state. It contains new objects we discover. It's Oracle database services. So just quick introduction. Database services is just a logical grouping of sessions performing similar kind of work. So services enable you to define rules and characteristics to control how users and applications connect to database instances. So it includes a unique name, workload balancing, failover options, high availability, and as you can see, Oracle services are important part of a RAC environment, and we got a number of requests to monitor them. So a NiCE Oracle ISM management pack discovers Oracle RAC DB services, including information from cluster registry about the service, and we also have a state monitor which checks status. Some new monitors in the cluster area was also added for cluster ready servers and for voting disks and for cluster registry. So we have new monitors, RAC CRS failures, RAC CRS status, RAC CRS voting disk, RAC OCR integrity. Some words about them. The cluster ready service daemon manages cluster resources based on the configuration information that is stored in Oracle cluster registry for each resource. And RAC CRS failures monitor checks if resources have failures. The next one, RAC CRS status monitor checks the status of resources. And for two others, it's Oracle Clusterware includes two important components that manage configuration and node membership. It's Oracle Cluster Registry, or OCR, and voting disk. So voting disks manage information about RAC node membership, and RAC CRS voting disk monitor checks the number of available voting disks. And RAC OCR integrity monitor checks the cluster registry and device files integrity. So this cluster registry manages Oracle Clusterware and Oracle RAC database configuration information, for example, information about services, and that's why it's important to monitor this as well. And now about some changes in ISM disk group and disks monitoring. We previously have just two monitors for free space and ISM disk group free space and ISM disk free space percentage, but they were actually use the information from Oracle about the free space that can be safely utilized. So we took in account the mirroring in Oracle ISM. So now, because of some requests from different customers, we separated this monitor, and now you can choose what approach to use. You can simply check the free space and don't care about mirroring, or use the old approach and use ISM disk group usable space percentage or in gigabyte monitors. We also added a couple of monitors for disks itself. So we check if ISM disk reads and writes errors for all disks in disk groups. And as before, to enable new monitors and state view, you just need to import NiCE Oracle Cluster Management Pack and NiCE Oracle ISM Management Pack. Don't be confused with X. It's also supported on Windows. On Windows, it will be a W instead of X, but it's the same. Kristen?
Okay, thanks a lot, Nikolai, for the quick introduction and explanation here. So one background I would like to add is here that the CRS components we can uniquely monitor here just because we have an agent-based approach here, because they're really not, the CRS details cannot be retrieved from a remote perspective. So we use the actually cross-platform agent and deliver a subset of scripts that collect that type of data from a new type of interface we introduced here. So just for your information, in case you are using or looking at remotely monitoring, we still fully support remote monitoring of Oracle database, but that is like one feature besides others that is not available on remote monitoring of Oracle databases. Okay, so let's go on. And so the next one is a scalability improvement on Linux Unix. So be prepared, it's going to be a complex slide here. So it has a longer animation there, so just be warned. So background is here, there are two ways we can collect data on Linux Unix systems. So one is called the asynchronous way, and that's actually the standard way. If you have a Linux or Unix system in your SCOM environment, that's the way you're using this today, either for your Oracle or also for your standard CPU monitoring or memory monitoring. So what is happening is, like, every 5 minutes, for example, we have, like, let's take CPU time because that's more like an example, or in our case, Oracle status information. So when workflow starts and requests from a provider, so we have like a synchronous provider, we call it, for example, here, request data that is basically provided to the WinRM interface in the management group to enumerate that data. So it sends that request over to the cross-platform agent, the OMI agent here, or for SP1 to the Open Pegasus agent. And then there's a collector component which actually collects that data. So for CPU information, that is typically something that goes on to a system call, an API to get that CPU information. For Oracle, in that case, we actually request that data from Oracle, like doing a select $V instance or something like that, retrieve the data from the view from Oracle, process it in the collector, pass it back to the provider, and feed it back to the workflow in SCOM. And then in SCOM, you have the performance data available. It goes to the data warehouse in the SCOM database, and that's basically the workflow end to end, if you like. So there's one problem though. So what happens, like, if that collector here, well, the sync provider actually spawns a sub-process that does the collection, so actually takes a longer time. So then in that case, actually the problem occurs that the workflow will actually wait until the collector returns with the result. So in general, not a problem, because obviously we have multi-threading today. Well, the problem is the current agent don't support multi-threading in a real way. So in that case, actually the other processes get back on the stack. So and then in the stack, they will wait until the process terminates and the next enumeration process gets its turn. So in the end, actually, eventually, there are going to be a lot of processes on the queue that are waiting to be processed, which in the end results in sometimes an heartbeat issue. It's been very few times, and typically on those environments where you have not enough resources on the system to process quick enough. Like, for example, if Oracle, if the request against Oracle is slow, or if you have like a CPU process that is taking much resources up, then this gets a bit in a bottleneck. So what we did actually in the past, we also, in the last release of the Oracle Management Pack, about all our collections have been using this process, the so-called synchronous process. So for long-running processes, or like collection, like for example, if you do a more complicated query, like let's say we do union and then we do some subselects and then we correlate this, get some cache data into it, and that take a bit of time, not necessarily CPU powered, but will just like time to complete. So and typically we're talking about really typically less less than 10 seconds, just to give this a relation here. So it's not something that would run like 5 or 10 minutes on your system, but it's typically 10 seconds or less. But if you have like lots of processes that are taking 10 seconds, that might sum up. In the end, there's little CPU usage because it's just like the queue problem. So in the other case, we have the asynchronous collection. In this case, we actually have something called a collection rule that in this case for the Oracle management pick runs now every 15 minutes, 60 minutes, and 4 hours. And that's the default. Obviously, that can all be changed. So and that collection rule will actually call the collector with a predefined set of configuration, and that is obviously configured in the SCOM console. So in the authoring console, you will find these collection rules, and they define what is to be collected. The collector will go out, collect the data from Oracle, and put it into a little cache. So this cache will be then available. It will be updated like every 15 minutes, 60 minutes, and so on. And then in the second step, we'll actually come in with the provider and, you guessed that right, get the data from the cache, bring it back to the provider, and it's kind of instantly there. So it's much faster. We don't run into that problem that we actually take a long time. The advantage is that the collections rule, they don't need to that return. They can actually send the result off to the collector, the request off to the collector will run, and once it terminated, we'll shut down and have the data in the metric cache. Where we have this queue problem is really only with the provider enumeration and not with calling processes on a Linux system. So in the end, we kind of changed this a bit. So in the past, we had like one asynchronous collection in Oracle MP 3.10, and now in Oracle MP 4.0, we have I think those 3 asynchronous collection and 1 synchronous collection. The synchronous collection really does only those things that are really need to be instantaneous. So if somebody shuts down your Oracle instance, you need to immediate information. So it needs to be kind of real time. While like, for example, your database growth, you don't need that every 5 minutes how to know how much your database grows. That's typically something in our time frame that needs to be configured. And if you like to know which of the monitors is in which time slot here, that is also again in this reference document where we have here the interval. So that would be the 15-minute interval, 3-minute, and depending on the interval, we have the type of collection we do here. So it has a big scalability improvement, and I expect like with the next release, the SCOM 2016, we get like a new feature in the agent, like which goes more to multi-threading. Well, then we'll be able to use even more better scalabilities in the new agent that comes with SCOM 2016, but we are not there yet, and we typically support up to 3 or 4 years the older version. So that kinds of means we actually just did this investment into the new scheduling of collections here to be really efficient and don't cause any issues with like gray agents or something like that. Okay, any questions, please, just put them in the chat or send me an email later. Great. So another enhancement here is performance rule. So this is something we put in here, FYI, so for your information. So we've been renaming our performance rule, our counters. So in the past, we've been using the instance of the counter was the instance of the Oracle. So and that was not 100% correct. Like it wasn't. There's no really standard or best practice. Some do that, use more the way Windows performance counters are used. Some are using more like in the SQL Server Management Pack. There also been changes. So we actually adapted ourselves now to the standard that is being done by the Windows performance counter. So we're using the _total here now, and we have the target, which is your Oracle SID here, and we also use for the object like a fixed Oracle instance name. In this case, we see the performance counter for the Oracle instance status, which is kind of the up and down and or shutdown in progress or something like that, performance counter. So here you see 2 counters. One is like logged from 3.10, and the one above is from 4.0. So why I actually show this is actually because if you upgrade from Oracle MP310 to 4.0, you will actually see that the performance counters are both there. They kind of get a duplicate. So we have the underscore total and lunar, where we have the instance lunar here, and then there will, after 10 days, when the data is rolled out of your Ops Manager database, will disappear, and you will have only the new one. So to not lose any data during that time frame, you can select them both, and then you will have a constant graph to view that. It's just like one information you should have if you're looking at an upgrade here. With the data warehouse, there are no problems. We tested that, so data in the data warehouse is not concerned. We store it in there, so all your reports should be in good shape. Okay, so next slide, new dashboard. So this is something very new. So, and I show this in a moment also in our demo, we have developed new dashboards for the Oracle Management Pack, which are based on the Veeam's VMware Management Pack visualization library. So, which is for all of those available who ever did an evaluation or used the VMware Management Pack from Veeam. Some of you know we form an alliance with Comtrade and Veeam called MPX Alliance, where we jointly do marketing activities, but also look into like code best practices, reusing each other's resources, verifying, and have a really good round of technical developer talks on how to manage, like how to develop really best of industry management packs here. So and Veeam has really very good knowledge on that in the visualization area. So we just actually said, well, why don't you use your generic visualization library and use that? Some of you might also use the generic reporting library from Veeam that can also be downloaded for free from VMware. So if you have that imported, then you can use those heat map dashboards here, and I'll show them in a moment also in the live environment. Okay, so well, there's even more. So not stopping with that. So obviously, what we do with every release is update our product knowledge. So there's been new monitors and so on. We actually have to do that to pass certification with Microsoft. So we update the product knowledge, include new links, and give you the latest and greatest that's available on the Oracle. Knowledge pages. So to basically put that together. Obviously, there's also updates to the ASM. There was a question early on the chat. So what's the difference? How many management packs do we have? In a sense, there's one license for the Oracle Database Management Pack, but it comes with like over 10 different management packs. The only extra is ASM because it's a separate instance. So for instance, if you have like a freeway rack load balancing environment, you have like free active load balancing Oracle instances, one central ASM instance, you would need an extra license for that central ASM instance. It's a fraction of the cost of the regular Oracle Management Pack. It's just important to know that it is a separate instance that we need to configure, so an extra license is required there. Next, obviously, documentation updates. So we've been working on the quick start guide, and you've seen the reference guide just before, and there's also the release notes so that are available. So better scripting support. So for those who roll out the Oracle Management Pack across many servers, so then that is also an option to actually provide the instrumentation and configuration in an automated way. So when adding new Oracle servers, there's no interaction at all required anymore. They will simply appear in SCOM, will be discovered without any manual interaction. So as soon as the DBA spawn up a new Oracle instance, it will appear actually in SCOM and be monitored. So this item here, support for custom provider hosting other than root. It's a bit complicated here. So if you know the provider concept from the OMI agent, you know that you can run the provider. The providers, as we have seen in the earlier slides, use spawn sub processes, and you can define under which security credentials those processes are executed. So in that case, you can actually define now to run it as SCOM agent user. You can run it as Oracle user, or you can run it at a custom user, at a technical user. So that is configurable. So and obviously it's can be done other than root, which is important. So we can completely work without any root requirements with the Oracle Management Pack. This is more something you would actually would consult us if you need that, because it requires updates of some additional configuration files on the system, but it is possible. We have customs that are successfully implemented as already with an earlier version, now more made it like part of the regular product support. We have OMS, Operations Management Suite. We've been frequently asked on that because it's a topic very much important for Microsoft. So if it's important for you or not, everybody can judge on their own. But we actually made an integration for OMS, and I'll show a quick slide a bit later how we do that. So and it's a very neat approach. So just want to show you a bit like how we integrate with OMS and how that works in case you are looking at OMS and what's going ahead, what is ahead with the Microsoft strategy. All right, and there's one more feature. So it has taken a bit of time, but many of you or some of you may note it if you're using the maintenance mode. And once the maintenance mode comes to an exit, alerts that went to an alert log during that time of the maintenance mode will come up actually after that. So so it's actually, well, if you like, a feature or bug of the operations agent from the from the provider that's using the log file monitoring on Linux, Unix, or on Windows from the agent, so that the pointer is not moved forward when it's in the maintenance mode of the file pointer, basically, for the log file. So what we did actually, we have done. We implemented a mechanism that detects the maintenance mode, and if the maintenance mode is detected, then it will actually for Linux, Unix, and for Windows not bring up Aura alerts or any alerts you looked for that went into the log file during the maintenance mode, which actually helps to decrease those alerts and create tickets after the maintenance mode is comes to an exit. So that has been implemented. Took quite a while and was quite some effort, but should now work. We tested it in a number of environments, so should help to reduce the number of alerts that come in. Okay, so let's go to a demo. All right, so let me start with the Oracle Server dashboard here. As you typically know, we have two sets of folder views that are added once you import the Oracle Management Pack. So there's the database, Oracle Database Unix Linux, and the Oracle Database Windows folder view here. So, and in those folder views, we have a number of views, and I right now show you the view for Oracle Windows and the server dashboard. So what we have done is we actually use a simulator for load testing, for visualization, and so on, and we have attached here the simulator with a number of Oracle instances. This really also helps us to make sure our product works in an environment where you have like 500 or 1,000 Oracle instances with, let's say, 50,000 table spaces. So this can then be easily simulated here in this environment. So and we can actually use this also here for a good visualization. So you actually can see this dashboard. And you probably say now, well, I've seen that already. That's exactly the same as in 3.10. Well, not exactly. There's one area where can you see that it's like new. And for those who paid attention, we'll actually find it out. If anybody knows. It is actually here on the right side in the performance instance. We see the underscore total. In the past, there was the instance name. So in this case, MPX, for example. Now we have underscore total. That is how you would see actually that these are the new management pack using and feeding the performance counter into this. So during the migration, you would actually see 4, and after 10 days, you would come actually to this view here. So this is not the new dashboard, so it's been used. So what is new in some of the areas, as I mentioned, are the in the real application area, a rack area for clusters. So let's go to this area here now for use the diagram view. We have ASM here, and we have for example, could have a cluster database. We have ASM with standalone right now, and we actually see here one of the monitors change. And Nikolai earlier explained the CRS voting disk monitoring. This is one of the new monitors we put to an alarm here, and actually filter some logs and retrieve some comments to monitor those cluster-ready services from Oracle. And then we have standard ASM monitoring with all the monitors and rules you have seen before. If you have like a full RAC environment or RAC 1 node environment, there are a lot of different monitors and performance rules as well, logical components behind that will actually detect failovers, for example, will detect issues in your listener states. So have multiple listeners, scan listeners there that are called. So we have actually a view for scan listeners right now here. We don't have like scan listeners as there's no RAC database set up here, but those would basically show in here, as well as the RAC database services have set up here in that area. We also reorganized some of the views a bit. So we have like something called DB storage structures, where we have the table spaces here. If you would go like to the other environment, that would be a longer list. But as I said, we've done extensive load tasks with large numbers of table spaces here, and actually have customers using that in production from previous versions with hundreds of Oracle databases right now. So let's get to the new heat map view that's been added. So that is pretty snappy. It comes up right away. So gives you actually an overview of all your Oracle databases and table spaces. Indicates kind of your hotspots. Like, see, well, there's a one table space that kind of only has 16% free of space, and gives you the ability, or your Oracle DBs, to really pinpoint issues very quickly in the table space area, and then deduct actions from that and resolve the problems. As well, like here, this is another system where we can actually see we have one very big, large table space here, which is like a lot of space free, but with some other with even more space free, they're smaller. And we actually ask ourselves, how that actually looks if you have like 10,000 table spaces, right? So and we did a test, and actually it works. It even is quite fast. Only the table space get really tiny in comparison to others. So only if they get red or get big, then they get actually visible into that. Otherwise, they're really tiny. So we did those tests. So be assured that is working well. So one more thing that is maybe helpful to know is actually that in the way how you configure this, we provided like a new way to for our instrumentation to be let's see, our instrumentation to be computer state. Is it computer state, right? Okay, Oracle computer state. There. This view is actually also new. We can actually add a custom column here. As you know, we have like something called instrumentation, which is the add-on of files which are pushed to the agent and are part of a sub-agent there that is feeding data into the SCOM agent, and that is now like had a versioning, but we actually track the versioning here, which helps customers with larger environment to actually update and keep the instrumentation in sync. So you can actually see that right now here. So if you go through an update and after the update, all your instrumentation version should be to 4.0 to 5, and if you would receive a patch, then that would be also be visible here. we have a number of troubleshooting tasks and tasks to help to retrieve details. This is a long list of tasks which are visible in the NiCE IT Management Solutions folder view. It's more really like for troubleshooting and setup. So, but also give you helpful information, like for example, if you need to run like the data collection of those providers we have seen previously in real time. So and you actually run that, and it will actually go out and retrieve the data, and you will see actually right away all the metrics and with the detailed information that's coming out from the Oracle collector. There's a question. The new management pack was previous instrumentation. Nikolai, maybe you can comment on that. So there's a good way to upgrade. What's the upgrade process, or shall we take it later with the upgrade slides?
I would recommend to read the release notes where this upgrade process is described. So generally, yes, it's backward compatible, but you can lose some features. So it's better to check the release notes for a best upgrade path. Yeah.
So as Nikolai said, in general it works, but you will lose features. The core monitoring will be still available, and we also made, because we changed this provider concept, we have now these asynchronous providers. We made sure that if you have the older with 310, the synchronous providers, they will still work until the upgrade is complete. So, but still, as I said, as Nikolai said, some information might be lost. So there is a way to upgrade without any downtime, which is important typically, even without downtime for monitoring. So, but I get to that in a moment. I have some more slides on that in a moment. So, but with that, I'll let me get back to the slides because our special guest is waiting, and I don't want to let him wait too long. So, so here we are with the upgrade process. So, so obviously, this is important. I think is if you're using 310, you only want to upgrade if you want to use the new features. So 310 is stable. Very important. There are no critical defects in 310, so it doesn't mean like using 310 and there's some deep bugs and you need to upgrade. No, that's not the case. So it is only because of 310, and we'll still keep support for 310 until end of next year. So if you're having an older version of OracleMP 310 or 3.0 or even before, you should think about an upgrade because there are a lot of features enhanced in there. Yeah, so definitely. And if you need to upgrade, you need a new license key, so you can just request that via our support channel, and they will give you an upgrade for those customs under support. All management packs are upgraded in place, so no downtime. So you would just put the new management packs in, and then one after a while update the instrumentation. So there might be some table spaces that are not having all the performance values, but in general, all the details are lined out in the release notes in detail. So if there are any questions, obviously you can also contact our support for details and help regarding the upgrade. Yeah, there's a quick way on OMS log analytics. I just want to give this is a complex slide. I could talk probably an hour about that. So OMS log analytics is the cloud-based log analytics product from Microsoft. And this is the architecture. It actually uses a Linux Unix agent as well. In that case, there's a Windows agent obviously as well, right? So, and it's using a component called FluentD, which is a log file processing analytics engine. And it has an extensible architecture and can actually take data from other sources, and in this case we provided an additional add-on which pulls data from the exact same Oracle providers that are part of the Oracle Management Pack 4.0. So in that case you can monitor Oracle as well with OMS. It is kind of multi-home with OMS and SCOM in that case. So we'll just bring the data not to System Center, to SCOM, but we'll bring it to the OMS agent, and then we'll flow into the log analytics platform. So you can use that at the same time. There's a schedule mechanism as well, but this is something more like a preview. It is available for those who are interested in that. They can give me an email, can reach out to me, and I can provide details. It's really something going forward, and for those who are going out to Ignite or some of the other conferences, there will be a lot of information around that from Microsoft, and we'll kind of want to just show you how we move forward with the product as OMS gets out there and provided by Microsoft. Still 2016 is out there, and there's a big story after 2016 I heard from Microsoft, so we'll still keep obviously the standard ways there as well, but there are options. That's the only thing I really want to show here. So with that, I think I get to our special guest. So our special guest is Richard Banwell, and welcome, Richard. So over to you. I'm happy to have you here. Back a bit story here. NiCE and Squared Up have been working for a number of years now. We know each other for a number of years, but recently worked more together to actually provide all the good data that's been collected by the Oracle Management Pack in the fantastic dashboards that are provided by Squared Up. So with that, Richard, welcome, and please take
Hi,
over.
Christian. Thanks very much. Let me just present my screen here. My slides come up. So thanks very much, Christian, for inviting us into this webinar. As Christian says, we've just started to collaborate recently to produce joint solutions for SCOM customers who have the NiCE management packs and also Squared Up on top of that. And really the goal of these solutions is to unlock the data that you have collected with your NiCE management packs, all those new monitors and rules that Christian's just walked through there on the webinar. That data is being collected by SCOM, and really the goal here is to unlock all of that for your actual Oracle and Linux administrators who typically don't live in the SCOM console and often sort of turn away from the SCOM console and don't sort of take advantage of all that great data that you are monitoring, collecting using the NiCE management packs. If you don't know much about us, our current release, Squared Up 2.3, really described by both MVPs and customers as a must-have for every SCOM environment. It's a really, really fast HTML5 dashboard and web console for SCOM. Very lightweight. It's not a brand new sort of kind of architecture on top of your existing SCOM architecture. It's just leveraging your SCOM databases and existing infrastructure there. So very easy to get up and running. And straight away, then you have access to all of your NiCE management pack data in a very fast, lightweight web console. We've got a demo here, which I'll come to in a second. I just wanted to first of all sort of bring up our community dashboard site, so community.squaredup.com. This is where we have published, or the community have published, a number of different dashboards available for Squared Up on top of your SCOM data and your SCOM management packs. I just wanted to show here a couple of dashboards we've been working together with Christian from NiCE on his team there, just to produce very nice, easy to access dashboards on top of that data. So here we have one for the NiCE OracleMP for Windows, for example. That's very easy to download and add into your Squared Up environments. Let me just switch over to that. We have a public demo lab, demo.squaredup.com. And if you've just browsed that, you can do that now if you want. You can actually see that dashboard that we've jointly constructed there on top of the Oracle data live in our demo lab. So you can sort of log on and check that out yourself. The data should be familiar. It sort of covers the rules that Christian was just sort of talking about there. And because it's in this web console, very easy to browse around. You can drill down into any one of these table spaces or Oracle instances, for example. But we also have access to all of the performance data collected and stored in the data warehouse. So very, very fast access. There's no sort of clumsy SCOM console for your Oracle administrators to deal with. You can send them links directly to this data using these URLs. And because we're querying it from the data warehouse, we have all of the data across typically a sort of year's worth of data there to query at the click of a button. One last feature I just wanted to point out here is export to Excel. So by installing Squared Up, installing some of those dashboards on top of your NiCE management packs and pushing this out to your Oracle administrators, you can really engage them with the data that the NiCE management packs are collecting in your SCOM environment. It's all very, very easy to use. So you can head over to demo.squaredup.com/Oracle now and check that out. What I also just wanted to do is take the opportunity to introduce Squared Up 3.0. If you're heading out to Ignite later this year or kind of later this month, head over to Squared Up stand and see what we have to show here, because we'll be talking about not just providing HTML5 access to SCOM, but by putting that data within the context of applications within your enterprise and really providing a full enterprise application monitoring solution. And we really think with SCOM and its cross-platform capabilities, we can provide kind of much more effective cross-platform application monitoring story than your organization typically has today. So in Squared Up 3.0, we'll be providing cross-platform application discovery and analysis, and we'll do specialized dashboards and drill downs for your Oracle and Linux admins that they can really kind of engage with. And that's going to allow you to break down the silos within your organization and provide that Oracle data that your NiCE management packs are collecting alongside your Windows data, your kind of Linux data, your SQL data, and your application data. So let me just show you a very quick demo of that now. So I'm just going to switch over to our Squared Up 3.0 product. It looks sort of very, very similar. But now what we can do in Squared Up 3.0 is look, for example, at a distributed application. So I'm just going to type in a sales app here and drill down into the sales app. Now we can show a distributed application, say, for example, from its availability and performance. So this is kind of the very sort of highest level data in your organization. So we can see the uptime of this application, the response time. We can also see sort of server health. We can pull in service desk tickets from your service desk tool and so on. But what I want to do is just switch over to the topology here. Let me just open that up here. In Squared Up 3.0, we can show and visualize your distributed application topology. Now here in our sales application, we have a set of web servers in a web tier. These are actually Windows IIS servers. And then we have a set of application servers that are also Windows servers. And at the back, we see it's consuming both a SQL Server database and also an Oracle database. So here we see the Oracle data that's collected by your NiCE management packs in the context of a cross-platform application. And we can now drill down into that Oracle server. And in 3.0, we have fully customized drill downs. So every bit of data now within your SCOM environment, you can customize. So it's not just consumable by the SCOM administrator and your sort of support team, but actually by your Oracle administrators and Linux administrators. So here we've drilled down into an Oracle server. We can see some key Oracle health state and performance metrics. So for example, we see the Oracle instances and databases and table spaces, and we see sort of the key metrics that we want to know about this server. But we can see that alongside, for example, the Linux data collected by your Linux management packs. We can deep dive into that on the memory side of things and the network side of things. And this is true for now, anything you're going to drill down into in Squared Up, whether it's Oracle, Linux, or kind of Windows based, that data is now all available in a single tool for every user in your organization. So having installed your NiCE management pack, collecting that data, don't just let it sort of sit there in the SCOM console unused. Really kind of urge you to take a look at Squared Up and take a look at Squared Up v3 to pull that data into the context of your applications and make it available to all of your users within your IT organization. So that's the sort of very, very simple message. As I say, you can check out demo.squaredup.com and download a free trial and also those dashboards that we've been collaborating on with Christian and his team. We think together, so taking SCOM with your NiCE management packs and Squared Up v3, we're really going to be able to offer an unrivaled cross-platform application monitoring experience for your organization. This is really just the sort of start of the collaboration with NiCE. We've just started to put together those community dashboards and some of those drill down dashboards, but you'll see a lot more sort of coming from us. In fact, I think even some of the changes that Christian just presented in the webinar today were to make the data more usable within tools like Squared Up and allow you to incorporate that data alongside other data within SCOM for a unified monitoring experience. So hopefully there's plenty more to come, but I just wanted to sort of have taken this opportunity to kind of give you a quick overview of what you can do with Squared Up. So thanks very much, Christian. Back to you.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot, Richard. So perfect. Thanks for that update here and preparing that demo. So it's been always a pleasure to work with you and your colleague together. So the both of the Richards, to be honest. So and looking forward to see you in Atlanta and do more joint activities in this area. So with that, I think I will have 2 more minutes left before we are over with this webinar here. If you have any questions, here's my email address. Please feel free to email me any requests, any suggestions you have. If you want to trial the product or Oracle Management Pack, obviously there's the portal there. You can go and download our product at www.nice.de. And for now, if there are any questions, you can unmute yourself. I will stop the recording now. And so recording's being stopped now. So, and